Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Professor Bwisa of Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology in Kenya, your agripreneurship and entrepreneurship tutor. This is my climate change adaptation project, which I'm carrying out in Bungoma County, Kimilili Sub-County, and Kibingei Ward. You can reach me at profbwisa@gmail.com. You can also call me +254 722 858507. Now, I understand climate change adaptation to be the process of adjusting to current or expected effects of climate change. In agriculture, it partially means adjusting agricultural practices to fit the changing climate patterns. This is what my project is all about. Now, some facts. In Bungoma County, regardless of the size of land, farmers grow mainly maize and sugarcane. Fact 2. Maize is harvested once in a year and requires good rainfall, but it's not well suited for irrigation. Fact 3. Sugarcane factories problems in Western Kenya have forced many farmers to switch to maize farming. Fact 4. Climate change has negatively affected quantity and quality of maize yields. Fact 5. Food security and farmers' income generation are threatened. But what do experts say? Now, the Agriculture and Food Authority of Kenya says that root and tuber crops are the second most important food crop category in Kenya after cereals. The main root and tuber crops produced in Kenya are Irish potatoes, sweet potatoes, cassava, yams, and cocoyams. That is that source. It therefore means that if maize is threatened, then we could go to roots. Now, my project, I want to plant early maturing potatoes in sacks so that, among other things, I intend to find out if that can increase gross annual food production. 2, find out if that can increase food production on the same or less size of land, given that population is rendering land smaller and smaller, not just in Bungoma, but indeed in Kenya. And C, find out if that can sustain food production in the face of climate change. I have some preliminaries. My internet research revealed that 1. Irish potatoes can take 2 months to mature. A single plant will produce at a minimum 1.5 to 2 kgs of potatoes, and a single seed potato will produce up to 5 plants. And Irish potatoes are actually good for irrigation. Number 2, it is easy and rewarding to grow potatoes in containers and bags. In a very small space garden, you can grow up to 45 kgs of potatoes in pots in just 10 square feet, which is about 3 square meters. So, will this be the case in my project? Now, I'll carry you through the steps that I've taken in this experiment. First, I used locally available materials to compost the manure that I used I'm going to use in my potato farming. We are now picking soil that we had composted. How did we compost this? We started by putting in ash, ordinary ash on the ground. Then we put in dry material. Then we put in green material, and we sprinkled some manure, cow dung, and then it composted. After just 1 month, it was composted. We are now taking it to go to use for green agriculture. We're going to use it to plant
our potatoes in sacks, Irish and sweet potatoes in sacks. You can see out there some already Irish potatoes and sweet potatoes out there. These were planted using this soil. We're now going to do another one.
Well, having done that, we then mix the compost manure with the ordinary topsoil in ratios of 2 to 3.
This is composted soil. Composted soil means we make compost manure, so to speak, dry matter, one layer, green matter, another layer, ash, and all that. And now we're going to use it to plant our crops, green agriculture, but we don't use it directly. This composted one, we mix at a ratio of 1 to 2 of topsoil. So here we have now 2 wheelbarrows of composted matter, manure, and 3 wheelbarrows of topsoil. When we mix the topsoil with composted matter in 3 wheelbarrows of topsoil to 2 wheelbarrows of composted matter, then we shall have our medium soil without adding any other inorganic fertilizer, and indeed we shall be doing green agriculture. Green agriculture, the fertilizer, the inorganic fertilizer weakens the structure of the soil. So we need to train all our small-scale farmers to do this. And look at those potatoes that you can see. They are planted in sacks, very healthy, planted using this medium that this gentleman is now doing, mixing topsoil, 3 wheelbarrows, composted matter, 2 wheelbarrows, and we shall get medium good enough to produce health potatoes, health crops like you can see here. This is Professor Bwisa's experiment, which is working well.
Well, we then took used 90 kg sacks and cut them into halves.
Now these are the normal 90 kg sacks. The sacks have been used. We just collected second-hand used sacks, so recycling. Now let's watch him. Because we're doing Irish potatoes, he bends it into half. Because the Irish potatoes do not, look, these are the Irish potatoes. They are not like sweet potatoes. So what he's doing is makes it half and then cuts. He cuts with a knife. He cuts the 90 kg sack into two like equal halves. This is what he's doing now. The 2 sacks will now produce 4 planting space. He is now cutting the sacks into halves. For planting purposes.
Good. Now, before you continue, please pause and please subscribe. This will help us bring you more. Now, having cut the sacks into 2 halves, we fill them with the mixture, manure and soil.
We now fill our mixture, soil, into the half sacks. Yes, you can see we are now filling the soil. This soil is 3 wheelbarrows of topsoil and 2 wheelbarrows of composted material. The composted material that we took from here is now what we are filling the sacks with, the half sacks, because we're going to plant potatoes, and these potatoes are that size, and therefore we don't need the whole sack. We shall be wasting the sack. So one sack can produce 2 planting space. We are therefore actually making a green cardan, filling the sacks with soil.
Yes. And finally, we planted and mulched the planted potatoes.
We have now put our soil, the mixture that is organic, rather composted soil and ordinary soil, into our half sacks. Notice that we are leaving space at the top of the sack, because as the potatoes germinate and grow, we shall be adding soil. Now these are the potatoes. They have been left to ferment and they are now like germinating. So we want to do an experiment. You can either plant the whole of it, or you cut into 2, or wherever the sprout is, and we plant in these 4 sacks. This is our experiment. We are now making 2 holes. We are making 2 holes, just 2. We are making 2 holes in every half sack. 2 holes in every sack. So we shall now cut into like halves, making sure where the sprouting is. So we cut like he's cutting, so that we multiply. And now we have to put it face, you see, he is making it so that it doesn't get dry. Uses sawdust to cover the naked side of the cut seed potato. There it is. We're cutting it in half, making sure that where it is sprouting, we had fermented this so that they sprout. You do not just plant fresh, and then once you have cut it so that it doesn't leak and dry, we coat it with, look at what it's doing, coat it with that sawdust so that the leaking stops. And we're going to plant those now. Yes, we cut it such that we have the sprouting safe. This is an experiment that we're doing by cutting. Over here, we did not cut. Over here, we just planted whole. Therefore, we want to see whether there is a difference or not. So we are now planting them. We're now planting them, making sure that the sprouting side is up. We are planting in our sacks. We are also doing experiment here on just horizontal sacks. And here we are doing, we are now doing in half sacks, and we shall have to mulch. We shall bring some mulching so that we retain the moisture as they germinate. So all the sacks are now being mulched. The sack is being mulched. We shall be coming and lifting to see whether they have sprouted or not. So like I said, this is an experiment with cutting. We have cut the seeds. We have cut these seeds. Ordinarily, we plant them as they are, whole as they are, and that's what we're planting in the bigger farm there. We shall therefore calculate the size of this land, in sacks, how much it will produce for us compared to the whole farm that you can see planting out there. So out there, we are planting the same potatoes in the ordinary way, putting that right in the farm. And here, we are doing it in sacks. And then we shall compare the yield and see, probably make a report. This is what we planted much earlier. You can see, this is we planted much earlier. They have now sprouted. And this is what we are planting today for our experiment purposes.
Yes. At the end of it all, we will compare potato sack farming with the normal farming. So we are waiting for our results.
Here, we are planting the same potatoes. The potatoes that we are planting in sacks, we are now planting them in the normal way in the farm. We have not cut these potatoes. We have not cut them. We have just planting them whole. You can see we are planting them whole. In the sacks, we cut this. Where the sprouting, we cut it so that we plant double, like increasing the seeds. But here, we are planting it whole. And this is now the normal planting. Mlembe mai, mnomno mai. Orio mai. Kwalo mlo kuri kure ko no kama kabe bilas bio so kakyo. Orio nazi mamai. Kawo kakyo ko rio ko bon. No ne ko chako somi abandu. Orio. So I've just been talking to a neighbor and telling her about this experiment that I'm doing. The idea is to spread the knowledge, the awareness, so that on small scale farms, how can we increase productivity? So here we are doing it the normal way, and you saw we are also doing it in sacks, and we're doing it right next to the neighbors here, so that they see what is happening. It is one thing to teach in classroom, and it's another thing to go out and do it in the vicinity of the prospective consumers of the technology. We are using this local manpower. They are used to doing it in a different way, and now we are introducing a new way, and therefore learning by doing. We're doing an experiment. I am doing this experiment in the field. I have asked these local guys to come and plant for me on this little plot, and as they plant, I'm transferring the knowledge they learn. Ordinarily, people do not plant potatoes here. They plant maize. They'll be planting maize. These potatoes that we're planting are the 2 months maturing potatoes. Within 2 months, we shall still have rain. Therefore, as soon as we harvest, we shall plant another lot. So we shall harvest twice from this plot. Maize will be harvested only once in this area of Bungoma County, Kimilili Sub-County, Kibingei ward. So we want to introduce new ways of farming, climate mitigation methods, climate adaptation, so that even with the climate being harsh, we can still have food security.
Yes, support our channel. Like, comment, subscribe. Indeed, if you want more, reach us, wind back the video, get our address and reach us. We can train you, we can train your people, we can come to your farm. Thank you for listening.